Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a Pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever you want to call us. Good morning, and welcome back to the show. This is episode 865 of the Two Dum Yinzers. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, everybody. Xfinity effed me in the ass again yesterday. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but I got to be honest with you. The way people use the internet nowadays, you would think maybe the weekends would be a good time to work on it. Maybe overnight, maybe when everybody's asleep. But no, noon on Monday, they decide to shut everybody down. I don't know where. I do know that we were in the largest population of people that were shut down. On the list, it said greater than 2,000, and we were in that section. So apparently, a lot of people get shut down. But when I look around and I'm looking around on YouTube, and why doesn't other people from Pittsburgh have their shit? Why wasn't it affected anybody else? Is what I'm saying. Tortilla, thank you. He says to who didn't pay the bill. But it was annoying as always. And if it happens again, I might just lose my mind entirely. But here we are, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. We apologize. We were here. We were ready to go. We were live for about 18 seconds. But real quick, I do want to say this. I was watching a little bit of Derpy's Nerd Show the other night. I watched Derpy literally eat a whole bag of popcorn real time. He's talking to his nerd friends about, nerd things, and he's eating a bag of popcorn. He had it it was flying. It was bouncing off his mouth. It was all over his shirt. And then at the very end, he ate all the popcorn that was on his stomach and on his shirt. It was unbelievable. I never seen anything like it. Derpy may or may not be by today. We was talking to him a little bit ago. Whether he stops, I don't know, but he may be here today. But I do want to say to everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. We got a lot to get into today. Today be our Victory Monday, at least right here on the show. We got a lot of things to talk about. Guys, as it is getting very interesting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good morning and welcome back to the show. Good morning. Let me catch up on the board. this morning and see how everybody's doing. Gang, gang, my man Jamal, everybody. Jamal, how you doing today, brother? Always great to see you, dude. Hope you had a nice weekend. Tortilla says, gang, gang. Vegas is my jam. You know what? You deserve a jam. Vegas did very well this week in the pick'ems. We're going to get to that here shortly. Cody says, good morning, fellas. Always great seeing and talking to Cody on the terrible board. Jamal, this is song Do Jam. Also, Jamal says, what up, Cody? Gang, gang. Cody says, what up, Jay Smooth? What up, Jay Smooth? How's it going, brother? RB says, God, that one was exactly why I want Tallman gone ASAP. The game should have been mid-30s to 17, but no, Mike needs to take the foot off the gas, and pump the brakes and try to hand it away. Good afternoon to Lindsay. Always great seeing Lindsay on the terrible board. Jamal says 9 plays for 3 yards the entire fourth quarter. Classic Mike bullshit logic. Cody says me and Jamal and Tyrone were there over on Derpy's when he was eating that popcorn. I've never seen anything like there was sparks coming off his fingers. He was eating this popcorn so fast. I've never seen anything like it. And as I said, you're seeing the shrapnel fly everywhere. And at the very end, when he was done with that bag, he picked every piece out of every crevice of his stomach and his shirt. And it was something to see. I got to be honest with you. It was worth the admission alone. What's up, Justin Learning? He says, we is the Ravens from Fan Lab. Yeah, where's he at? I was thinking about him. Black says, my G Smooth. Cody says, Tortilla has a son named Bread and his girlfriend is Toaster. Black Magic says, I'm sorry, Jamal says, this forgot who called me Whack Magic. Cody says, yeah, you J Smooth. J Rock. Jamal says, I'll take that, man. Vegas says, I learned to never get between Derpy and his popcorn. My God, if you would have seen this, come on, take a minute to just go check it out. Again, the way the sparks are flying off his fingertips, he couldn't get popcorn in his food fast enough, in his mouth fast enough. Truly incredible. Tyrone T-Bone would also let me get one more in here. Ryan, what's up, Ryan McPherson? Always great seeing Ryan McPherson over here on our terrible board as well. Guys, welcome to the show. We got a lot of things to get into today. A lot of things to get into. I got to be honest, I don't even know where to start. Last night there was a Monday Night Football game. It ended with the Chargers winning 22-19 over Philadelphia, which did affect us slightly. We will play the Chargers if the playoffs started today. However, the playoffs don't start today, but it did change in that way in the playoff race. We'll get to that and a lot more. Cody says, Rimsey. It's been a while since we had Rimsey. But a lot of things, guys. Let me get into some stuff. You know what? Let me do something. Just bear with me for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give some props and some credit where credit is due, and some shout outs to some mighty fine young men here in Pennsylvania. Our high school football teams did wrap up their season this past weekend in the state championship games. Our Clareton Bears, our single A team. This is where Tyler Boyd went to high school. Of course, we know the NFL player Tyler Boyd. Went to the Bengals for quite some time and then down to Tennessee. Clareton did win 35-3 over Bishop Guilfoyle. They do bring home the single A hardware for the PIAA for state championships, and it was the first time they've won it since Tyler Boyd did it back in 2012. Also, as far as teams from right here, the Farrell Steelers. Farrell Steelers lose to Southern Columbia 43-22. Avonworth, they beat Northwestern Lehigh 31-7. They bring the gold back to the western side of the state. And finally, Central Catholic, where Dan Marino once reigned, they lose to LaSalle College 34-20. So I do want to give a big shout out to the high school kids that did bring home the state gold this year. Congratulations. And you know what? Even the ones that didn't get it done, you got there. That's damn good. So congratulations, everybody. Bring that gold home. Let's do it again next year. So let's get back to it, guys. A lot of things, and I mean a lot of things to talk about today. That's not even the tip of the iceberg on what I got to say. A lot of things we're going to talk about. Let me grab a couple more messages before we do get into some of these things. Hey, Mark Malone, what's up, bro? Always great seeing Mr. Malone on the terrible board. Mark says Hurts gave that game away. He had two turnovers in one play. That was interesting. Ryan McPherson says, what team stands out in the AFC is truly nobody. That's what makes this incredible, and that's what makes this interesting and continue to be interesting for the Steelers. Say what you want about us. I mean, we are inconsistent as can be. But if this season isn't playing out it's not playing out to anybody's favor. I got to be honest with you. Tortilla, the Steelers at Ryan Vegas says, does that mean no more games on the Steelers field? No, the field looks fine. They did the state championship games over in Mechanicsburg, so the field is untouched. Also, pit's done now, so the field should be nice the rest of the way. Cody says, where you be, what you say, what you hear. Aliquippa, they lost to Twin Valley. Ryan Quip lost to Twin Valley last week, and Twin Valley lost the state championships this week. This was a down year for Aliquippa. They were undersized. Their line was young. Wasn't expected to do much, and they made it. They won the Whippeal, and they made it all the way to the game right prior to the state championship game. RB, Bishop Guifoyle was my home. Get out. It's a familiar name, even for, over on this side of the state. They tried to recruit me to play football there in high school with a free scholarship. Yeah, man. Very familiar with Bishop. Cody, gang, motherfucking gang. Tyrone says, Tom, press conference. I do believe that Mike is on the he's on the tip, man. He should be keeping his eye on the Mike Tomlin press conference. And if there's any news that comes across, it's of importance. He will put it across the bottom of the board. Also, Ryan says, what's up, Cody, Lindsay, Tyrone, Jamal, the whole crew. Vegas says, consistently inconsistent. That's the best way to describe this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Consistently inconsistent. Consistently inconsistent. I would agree. What's he saying, Tyrone? RB says, nothing will be interesting for the Steelers when the head coach refuses to try to win a game. Lindsay says, hey, Ryan, always great to see you as well, Lindsay. Tyrone says, getting ready for Miami. That's right, baby. It's the Dolphins week. Just getting ready for Miami. Yes, Miami did get a win this weekend in the colder weather in New York, but got to say, Dolphins don't generally play well in December up north. And we'll see if we can have that go to our advantage, plus a few other things that I dug up that I think is going to play in our advantage as well. Cody says, I guess if Pitt's done, it's not a major loss. Not really. Ken, I do want to say this. I want to say welcome to the terrible board, Ken. O'Grady. Ken says Steelers 7-6, but they ceiling made wild card run. I mean, that's the way it's looking. I got to be honest with you. To me, it's the same thing in the sense that, yes, it's you see the writing on the wall. It's basically the same kind of season we've seen for the past 4 years. If this team could fall into the playoffs, maybe, I mean, a lot of people would say that there's not a win there. However, in the second round of the past couple of years, you've had a better Ravens team. You had a Buffalo Bills team that's playing good in Kansas City, who was always there to be waiting for you had you got out of the wild card round. So if we could get out of the first round, maybe, just maybe, again, it really comes down to consistency and getting your head right and being ready, prepared for each and every game, which is something we have struggled to do. But I guess that's what we have to look forward to, and that's what we're hanging on to right now. And this is what we're going to do to get ready for Miami. But again, guys, we have so much to get into today. It's going to go back a little bit. It's going to go forward a little bit. And again, because of our friends over at Xfinity yesterday, I wasn't able to get a lot of this information out. So we're going to do a lot today. Just to hang out for a little bit here, guys. Ravens play Pittsburgh like Ohio State. Is there private parking? Is there private high school out there that's like a college with their own really nice stadium? What, out west? Because we don't have the private schools that they have out east. they do things a little different over there. Our parking is generally okay. Ken says, I love pizza. Cody says Ravens played Jamal says Troy Aikman said we were lucky and the refs were suspect in helping us with the game. I'm going to get to that in just 1 second because that's kind of rubbing me. Texas for life is what Cody says. Tyrone says y'all finna lose second round. Hush. Mike T for life. Jamal, refs gave us shitty calls too. Lindsay, you're really close to where I'm going. Black Magic, Jamal says, yo, at Cody and Tyrone want to go live. They're going to do their thing today. Cody says, Tech going to beat the brakes off Ohio State. Guys, Lindsay, you hit it really close. Every single game I watched this weekend, whether it be college, whether it be high school, or whether it be pros, had a game that came down to the opposing fans blaming the refs. All right, and as I said, guys, the Mike Tomlin press conference is going on real time, and down at the bottom of the screen, we are running concussion protocols. Andrews Pete, Darnell Washington, Malik Harrison, Keanu Benton, James Pierre, Ben Skoranek, and Y.A. Black, all expected to be limited. And Kyle Duggar's expecting to come back this week. So again, where I'm going with that, Ohio State. They're complaining about calls, but the kid didn't make the field goal at the end of the game. You could have salvaged it. You could have defeated it. Let's just say that the world was against Ohio State that day and decided that morning that they were going to make them lose, which is ridiculous. They missed the field goal to tie it at the end. So unless Ohio State was involved or their kicker was involved, I don't want to hear it. When they're getting all the calls all the time because they're the better team, when Ohio State's getting all the calls, or when it's okay because they're better. And you know what? It's probably right because they're just good. F that. I've seen a handful of teams, all these teams in high school that thought they were the greatest thing on earth. When a couple of them lost, it was the same thing. The refs. Yeah. The refs woke up this morning and said, you know what? Let's screw these high school kids out of a game tonight. It's crazy. And the thing is, we do go through this game in, game out. There's been weeks and weeks and weeks that we've seen penalties where our mouths were just hanging, wondering how in the hell they didn't call this call. And so you know what, Baltimore, nobody feels bad for you. You lost. It isn't like you lost and you lost your undefeated season, bro. They're 6-7. 6-7. But a lot of things to get into today. That is, guys, let me just kind of get started into some things here. Of course, going into this week's game, the Steelers try to extend their home streak on Monday Night Football, guys, to 23 games. 23 wins in a row at home on Monday night. You got to like that. It's Miami and playing football in December up north. You got to like that. And I also do know that there are ways that we could make the playoffs before we even play the Baltimore Ravens in Week 18. Again, pay attention, guys, across the bottom of the screen. All the most highlighted information from the Mike Tomlin press conference is going across the bottom of the screen as we speak. Lindsay says that was not a touchdown. Ken says the referees helped the Steelers. Ryan says 31-5. That's right, 23 straight. We're going through 23 straight as far as Monday Night Football games go at home. So, again, you got to like that, guys. Cody says that Jesse James catch was a good. And that's the thing. It is what it is. Ken says likely was a touchdown catch, so the Ravens did get robbed. You know what the ref said? Not bloody likely. Isaiah Likely has a history of effing up touchdowns just this season alone. He had his toe on the line that was the first game of the year. That touchdown didn't count in the back of the end zone. Just a couple weeks against Cincinnati, he loses the ball at the 1-inch line as he's crossing the line. This weekend, he can't hang on to the ball through his football move. This guy's like hand grenade. Call him hand grenade. It's almost touchdowns with this guy. But anyway, like I said, not bloody likely. It doesn't count. The league says it doesn't count. Tyrone says it doesn't count. Lindsay says it doesn't count. And guess what? The standing boards also said it didn't count as well, guys. So let's get into all these, the important and the most interesting information, guys, out of this game. First of all, I do want to start with what the scenarios are, because there are scenarios, as a matter of fact, that we can get into the playoffs before we even see Baltimore again, which means we will probably see Baltimore exit the playoffs, because it's going to be very difficult again to get in as a wild card out of our division, guys. This is pretty much how it's got to break down. We could be in the playoffs in a couple weeks if these few things happen. And hear me out. Steelers, if we beat Miami this week and we beat Cleveland in week 17, and the Ravens lose to Cincinnati this week and lose to either New England or Green Bay, if those couple things happen, which are very doable, come on. I mean, look at how this is playing out with these, the way the Ravens, that team's playing like straight garbage. Say what you will about us. Yes, we play like straight garbage, but also there's this the inconsistency gets us through sometimes, if that makes sense. So, guys, we beat Miami and we beat Cleveland. Now, there's another scenario that involves beating the Lions as well, but that's a little bit more far-fetched. And again, you have to beat the Lions, and I don't know how much I trust that right now. So this run here, right here, as I said, guy, very, very, very doable. Steelers beat Cleveland. I'm sorry, beat Miami this week on Monday night. Beat Cleveland. And if the Ravens lose to Cincinnati this coming week, and they lose to either New England or Green Bay in the following 2 weeks, it's over, and we're in. I know it's hard to say you're comfortable with that. I know it's hard to say, all right, we're in. That's good. A lot of people is, not, they're optimistic, or yeah. What can we do? And it always comes back to this. I think we could pretty much stay in the game with everybody in the AFC. I think. There's some games that will make you think so more than others, but just looking at things, this is what the playoffs would look like right now if they did start today. We would be playing the LA Chargers in the first round at home. So if the playoffs did start right now, and they don't, we would be playing the Chargers at home, as we would be the 4th seed and they would be the 5 seed, as that changed as of last night. Buffalo. We would have been Buffalo, which I got to be honest with you, I'd rather play the Chargers than Buffalo. This is what the schedules look like for the four remaining games for all the teams in our division. Steelers, of course, have the Dolphins at home. They're at Detroit, at Cleveland, and then they come home to finish up against the Ravens. The Ravens at Cincinnati, where they just lost. They didn't just lose there, but they just lost to the Bengals. The Patriots 11-2, the Packers 9-3-1, and then again us. Got to say they have the toughest. They have the toughest draw. The Ravens do. And also the Bengals, guys, they have the Ravens this week, then at the Dolphins, then the Cardinals, and then the Browns. I got to say, out of the 3 teams in the division, however, the Bengals lose last week. Also, I just want to make a note that every team in the division, again, lost, while the Pittsburgh Steelers managed to be the only team in the division that won. So that, again, is always a fun thing, and it'll help you so certainly. So, so let's just say the Ravens would get in. Do you think that team we seen on Sunday would have any more of a chance than we do? People that ain't giving us a chance. Oh, they're not going to win. Baltimore's going to get in. Blah blah blah. You think that team has any chance at all? So that's what it'd be. Again, keep your eye on the bottom of the screen as we are running the important news and notes from the Mike Tomlin press conference across the bottom of the screen in real time today for Mike Tomlin's press conference. A couple big things here going on. The Philip Rivers, before we even get into Steeler talk, Philip Rivers meeting with the Colts today, talking about trying out for this team because, of course, Danny Dimes goes down with a serious injury on Sunday. Philip Rivers is showing up at the Colts facilities to show up today to join the practice squad, which I would think ultimately would get him on the field because Riley Leonard is their next quarterback. You remember the name? I think he was just in the college championship last year. I think that's Notre Dame's quarterback. But Riley Leonard is next up. Danny Dimes down, big time injury. And Philip Rivers, that's right, 44-year-old Philip Rivers meeting with the Colts today, talking about trying out and coming and playing for the Colts. And as you recall, he finished up his season or his career with Indianapolis after playing his whole career with the Chargers. He did go over to Indianapolis to finish up his career. So we might be seeing somebody even older than Philip Rivers. Interesting, guys. A whole lot of interesting things going on in football. Yeah, Philip Rivers, guys. Jamal, today he's meeting at Indianapolis, meeting with the Colts. So this could be also going on. What a crazy year. I don't think anybody could dispute that this has been a crazy year in the NFL, guys. Let me take a look at a few things. There are some teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs already. I love it. These teams have been eliminated from the NFL playoffs after week 14. The Cleveland Browns out. The Raiders out. The Jets out. The Titans out. The Cardinals, Falcons, Saints, Giants, Commanders, all eliminated from the playoffs as of right now. You know who's not? The first place Pittsburgh Steelers is not. The board's getting interesting. I'm going to get back over that in a second. I swear to you. There's just so much. There's so much to get into. Let me give you some numbers. Can you hear me? I just tapped my my wire. I hope that I hope that you can still hear me. So I'm going to continue on. Let's go over a few numbers, guys. First of all, I do want to say get on and vote Boz. Vote Boz. Vote Boz. The NFL voting is in for the All-Pro game. Skoranek is at the top of special teams play. Connor Hayward is at the top of the fullback list. Guys, Boz is not even in the top 10. Get on and vote your favorite Steelers. If anybody is consistent on this team, I think Boz would be. He's one of the only guys that isn't even on the top 10 list in his position, which is crazy to me. So again, go on, get all the Pittsburgh Steelers into the All-Pro game. But again, Boz, I just can't believe he's not even in the top 10 list. To me, that's insane. Let's see what else we got that was going on here, guys. So the Steelers, they won 3 games since World War II, where they were outrushed by the other team by 170 yards, and they won. The Steelers, since World War II, they've been outrushed by 170 yards plus and won. One of them was this past week, guys. They were outrushed by 183 yards. They won. 2021, they were outrushed by 170 yards, also to Baltimore, and won. And finally, back in 2017, they were outrushed by 217 yards by Baltimore and won. So all 3 of those wins in crazy style with that statistic. The Steelers did win those games. Again, I do have interesting stuff that I want to get into before we even start here. So let me bear with me, if you will. Oh, here's one. You know what that win also did for us? Not only did it give us the tiebreaker, it gave us multiple tiebreakers. So if we're worried about even coming down to that last game and there being a tie, as of right now, we have the first 2 or 3 tiebreakers. We have the head-to-head, which is 1. We have the division, which is 2. And I guess the next one is common opponents. But we're basically 2 games ahead of these guys with 4 games left. And again, they have a tough schedule. We don't have as tough as a schedule. So we have that going for us as well. And finally, for the Ravens fans, and that guy that was in here last week, I had this one especially for him. The Steelers have beat the Ravens 9 out of the last 11 times. Blame it on the refs. Blame it on whatever you want. It doesn't matter because we beat them 9 of the last 11 times. And I got to put it to you this way. In those 5 years, we weren't any good. In those 5 years, they had a MVP. In those 5 years, they've had Derrick Henry. But the Steelers have beat them 9 out of the last 11 times. So anytime anybody tries to talk shit, guys, come on. We don't fear the Ravens. We never feared the Ravens. And as Tortilla said in the last text, yeah, what the fuck has Lamar done? We've seen a lot of things in this game, guys. We've seen controversy. We've seen the discount double check. Haven't seen that for a long time. A lot of things, guys. Again, I don't want to miss anything today. As Mike does put the interesting and important news from the Mike Tomlin's press conference at the bottom of the screen all day. So keep your eyes on that. But I have to get on the board, guys. I'm just chomping at the bit to see what's going on over here. Let me find where we're at, if you will. Let's see. We're right about. Yeah. Steeler freak. I know. I know. Again, I'm just talking to myself because I'm running into these questions as I'm trying to find where I'm at. All right. I'm in the right I'm in the right neighborhood. Here we go. All right, I'm going to go right here with Ken O'Grady. Ken O'Grady, I do want to say welcome to you, sir. Ken says this, and I don't even like the Ravens, but I'll tell you the truth. Likely touchdown catch. That's not what the official numbers say. I just want to throw that out there. Is heated as a debate this is, sometimes it just doesn't go your way. And you know what? We've been a part of that in many of those games, and a lot of times it hasn't. And what do I say, guys, every week? I said, I don't like to blame it on the referees. If we lose and there's something, then you know what? Then we didn't do enough to win. And I do that every week, and that's why I wanted to make a point to talk about these referees today on all levels. Because again, as all these good teams lose, the Buckeyes in college and these teams in the state championship game who are not used to losing, they never ever lose without it being the referee's fault. Pay attention, you'll notice. Those teams never lose unless the refs have it in for them. So do what you want with that, guys. The official word is we're in first place. So the last I seen, there's not much you can say beyond that. If you feel that you were wronged, I don't know what to tell you because I seen 2 steps and no football move. And that's what I always knew that it was. That's what I always learned what the rule was. It's 1 step, 2 steps in a football move. Had he been going out of bounds, no, it's different. It would be different then. You just get your 2 feet in your possession down. But in the middle of the end zone or in the middle of the field, there has to be 2 steps in a football move. And there was no football move. So before I move on, I just want to make that clear that that's the rule. It's always been the rule, and it didn't change on Sunday night. Again, yeah, I mean, of course Baltimore's going to say that. Of course they are. And I would say too. Just in all fairness. But again, I'm always against that blaming the refs thing, and against these better teams. They never lose without the refs because these refs are always out to get them. Always out to get these teams. Let's see. Ken says no. 3 calls against the Ravens. You know, when there was calls that they missed too. I could literally, if we went back and watched tape, I'd be able to point out that. But again, that's apples and oranges. Who cares? Who cares? Nobody cares. I can tell you, nobody in here cares. We won. We're moving on. They lost. They're behind us. They're under 500. They're 6-7. That's come on. Do what you want with that. We're gonna go into next week 7-6. We're gonna go into next week in first place. All that shit doesn't matter. They're going to cry about it. They're going to complain about it. Oh, it's a bad call. All this stuff. Whatever. Yeah. All right. Nice. Good for them. Let's see. Tortilla. I think this is right. Bear with me, guys. Tortilla says Mendoza's going to win the national championship and get drafted by the Steelers. Jamal says, yeah, right. All right, I think I'm where we're at here. Jamal says Troy Aikman said we were lucky and that the refs were suspect in helping us with the game. Refs gave us shitty calls too. Lindsay's saying this. Cody Tech going to beat the brakes off Ohio State. Let's see. All right here. Ryan says, I think we get a first round win. At times, I want to compare this team to the 08 Cardinals, who were 9-7 and went against the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I'm not there yet. More consistency is needed. Absolutely. The consistency is the killer of this team. The inconsistency is the absolute killer of this Pittsburgh Steelers team this year. Again, you know, for some reasons, we'll get into those as well. Cody says this, kind of Lubbock, like an hour away. Okay, let's see. Steeler Freak says Ryan has Derpy in the back on a stationary bike and transformer providing electricity to the studio. I do, like a hamster. I go back and I throw shit at him every once in a while. Ken O'Grady says this. He says Mendoza's not falling to the Steelers. Cody says the refs fuck us every week. One game goes by and I know. Come on. I mean, if you want to talk this language about getting cheated by referees, start there. Not the one game the call goes in the Steelers' favor. You silly. Mark Malone says Buckeyes are a bunch of homos. Also, he follows it up by saying that's why Derpy likes them. Ken said this. Now the 3 bad calls to the Steelers, Ravens helped the Steelers. Yeah, okay. It helped us. We won. Again, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do you want us to sit around and go, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe we won because of this bad call. Please take it back. You nugget. That's not, come on. I think you're smarter than that, right? Ryan says 31-5, Monday Night Football home record. Lindsay says that was not a touchdown. Again, the way I understood the rules, it wasn't a touchdown. He never made a football move. Where am I wrong? Ken says likely it was a touchdown catch, so the Ravens did get robbed. Well, officially it wasn't. I mean, you could keep saying that, but again, it's eventually going to fall on deaf ears because I'm going to listen to what the officials say. I don't know, call me crazy. We trade up. You don't have to fall. You know what? The draft's in Pittsburgh. I think a lot of things could happen. And I think the fact that we have tons of draft value, I think anything could happen, whether it does or whether it doesn't. It's going to be interesting to see what we decide to do. But I think if we wanted to go after a top quarterback, I don't think it's out of the question. Again, with 12 picks in our back pocket, that's a lot of draft capital. And again, there might be some teams up top that would like more draft picks. And like I said, there's only a couple teams right now that are really looking for their franchise quarterback. Not as many as there usually are, so we could use that to our advantage as well. Jamal says this, that wasn't a catch at Ken. That's the law. Ken says, if this was the Steelers and it's happened to DK, absolutely. Now you're getting it. When it's your team, you don't like getting robbed. When it's not your team, you don't mind. Okay. I seems pretty common sense to me, but let's continue on. Steeler Freak said the Steelers haven't played 4 straight games with any consistency on both sides of the ball for years. It could happen. I could also win the lottery. And that's where I'm at too, John. They haven't played 4 consistent games all year. And I also do want to say that big win against Indianapolis, when Indianapolis is falling fast, I think they're 1 game better than we are. So people got to quit using that Indianapolis game as an example of how we did good at certain points. Always were overrated, in my opinion. Cody says George Pickens had the same foot down twice in position, and guess what? Not a touchdown. Also, I do have the official words from a few things from last week as well. We didn't get into because of the issue with the internet yesterday. So there's a lot of things going on today, guys. Do stick around. Ken says this at Jamal. It was a catch by likely. You're just a biased Steeler fan. If this happened to, sure. Tell me something I don't know. Ken, what do you even? This isn't really a good argument. For one, who cares? We won. Nobody cares on this panel. We're getting ready for Miami. The only people that care about this are people that are Baltimore Ravens fans. Nobody gives 2 shits. 2, it was the official call. For 3, it didn't change our record. And for 4, I'm sure we would be complaining if it was against us because we do every week. So I'm not real sure what it is that you're looking to accomplish here today, but feel free to continue. I'm enjoying it nonetheless. Jamal says this. He says, what's the weather for Sunday? I don't know. Tyrone saying 20. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but it's probably going to be cold. It's been very cold here in Western Pennsylvania as of late. I mean, ridiculously cold. Vegas says refs made the proper call, did not make a football. In number 5, where was the football move, Ken? Please fill me in where I missed the football move. If they were so wrong and they made the wrong call, I mean, I only watched the footage 600 times. I can't imagine that I missed the football move. I mean, if I did, I apologize, but I don't know where I missed the football move. It was non-existent. Vegas did not make a football move and didn't quite get that 3rd step down, which would have counted as a football move just before he lost control. Jesse James did catch it. Yeah, come on. We never got robbed, right? Tortilla says that Ken, we get screwed all the time. Every team gets screwed at some point. And yeah, the team that gets screwed gets mad. But that's about all you can do. Ravens had they had absolutely. They couldn't stop. Come on. Their defense didn't do great against our offense. They didn't run the ball like they probably wanted to. And Lamar Jackson is a choker. He's overrated. He's never accomplished anything. Come on, that guy was an MVP. What you seen this? They was talking about this guy being a possible MVP this year. I mean, what a joke. At least we're not sitting here, claiming this kind of bullshit. Jamal says, no, I wouldn't be mad. He let the ball go. And again, at what point was there a football move? That's the first thing you got to say to anybody when they bring this up. There was no football move. Show me a football move, and then we'll talk. It didn't happen. It was one catch, 1 foot, 2 foot, and then between 2 foot and 3 foot, which would have completed the football move, the ball comes out. So unless they changed the rule entirely, it was an incomplete pass. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Ken says this, Vegas, yeah, if the Steelers wide receiver tight end, you said that 9 times. Steelers tight end made the same play and it wasn't a catch, you would say the Steelers got robbed. Blah, 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 blah. You aren't, all right. Hey, it's all cool. Hey, man. Mark says, with Thielen, Miller, Skoranek a loss, you didn't play good enough to win. I mean, you only had to stop a team that's been struggling all year. Come on, Baltimore. It shouldn't have came down to a call. Believe me, if you're that much better, and this is what you're mad about, it really shouldn't have come down to a call. I mean, come on. You're the team with the MVP. Oh, wait, this team hasn't beat us. We beat them 9 out of the last 11 times. Get over it. The Ravens are no good. We're not afraid of the Ravens. Never were. Never will be. Tortilla, if you have to blame a bad call, blame a loss, blame a call for a bad loss. You didn't play good enough to win. Apparently they didn't. That's all. I understand the argument, and I understand for people wanting to participate in it, but it's dumb. Because again, I threw out 5 points right off the top that you can't crack one of them. Tyrone says, we've been there. Justy James, know your history. Ken says this. He says, still got robbed, and it was a touchdown catch by likely. Not officially, it wasn't. Ken also says, Vegas, you have the Steelers wide receiver. Okay. I don't know how many more times I could read that comment, Ken. Right, says, I'm cool with playing LA at home. I am too. And we went out there. We got our asses kicked. But again, it's hard to beat a team 2 times in a year. It really is. I like our chances again, but it's still, guys, 4 games left. The biggest one coming this week against the Miami Dolphins. If they win this game, if they win a game that they're supposed to win, you got to feel good. Again, Detroit's going to be something else, but then you got Cleveland and Baltimore. And again, we could have our playoff spot locked up before that last game against Baltimore. By the way, the Steelers seasons have gone. I would say it's probably not going to happen, but you know what? It's a possibility. The option is out there, guys, and we will see what we can do. Steelers says, can agree. Now every fan base yells rigged after their team takes an L. Guaranteed a Steeler fan base would have bitched. Oh, man, they're moving my messages fast. Ken says, Steelers not good, just built 7-6 and a wild card exit they need to rebuild. And well, again, there's nothing that is being said that's stuff we never knew. We knew that this was a rebuild. We knew that we're getting the draft. We knew that we're going to spend a lot of capital to get the players that we want. We're going to try to build the team that we want. I understand that you're trying to troll, but again, it's kind of a dead horse at this point. We're thinking Miami. We're thinking Dolphins. Nobody here even cares about that. Effed up calls happen all the time. I don't know what to tell you. Lindsay says, didn't get robbed. They just suck. Ken says, at Tortilla, you happy to get a win barely from, yeah. We lost games by the referee. I'll take one by the refs. For sure. Jamal, he says, Philip Rivers laughed my ass off. Steeler Freak says, Vegas, I agree. Follow the current rule or change it regardless. Stop bitching. The Ravens are ass and lost that game for more reasons than exactly. Every fan base needs to to deflection cope. Ken says, facts, you're a smart Steeler fan who's objective. I can rock with you. Ryan says, I don't blame the Colts talking about Phillip Rivers. Vegas says, my gosh, I'm having this thing. It keeps bumping up. My board does, and it's not letting me see the ones that I missed. So I'm trying. Tortilla, bro. Yeah, it's a division win. And exactly. Have you ever watched a Raven Steeler game? Shit's happened, and you know what? You're like, what the fuck? But at the end of the day, it is what it is. 9 out of the last 11. If they were that much better than us, guys, again, through these rough years, the dark ages, if you will, of the Steelers, we've still been able to win 9 out of 11 against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to move on to Miami again. Nothing is going to change the call. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You want us to all again start apologizing? It's just again kind of a stupid drum to keep beating. A dead horse. You know what I mean. Come on. Cody says, let's go Steelers. Right. Ravens cry, baby. Ken says, real Steelers football is Ben Roethlisberger and Terry winning. Absolutely. I mean, come on, Ken. Can you agree that this isn't a good team, a good season, a good anything? We don't have a Ben. We don't have a Terry. We're not dominating teams. We're not even winning games that we're supposed to win every week. And again, we'll take it. Shit. It is what it is. What else you want to, again, what else you want us to do? Ryan says discount double check. Tyrone says he said here another deep ball. Steeler Freak says Ken, thanks. I'm old, crusty, and impatient. The team's overdue to rebuild, so I'm always finding a way. Ken says that Cody, you got Aaron Rodgers beef in your ass. Ken also says keep the same energy with the Steelers when the Steelers wild. Yeah, you know what? Who cares? You don't expect the Steelers to win the Super Bowl every year, dude. You don't think it's actually going to happen, right? You know we've been successful more than any other team in the league, right? Every team season ended with a disappointment more than ours, except for New England. So what are you going to do? If we get, you know what? I got to move on. Lamar's record is 3-6 versus us. Tyrone says, he says trash. Ken says, you're Aaron Rodgers beef in your ass. Mark Malone says, Rodgers jizzed on Baltimore's secondary at Ken Tortilla. I'll take a wild card loss over missing the playoffs. Yeah, Baltimore's going to be watching from home. Yeah, I'll take it. Refs robbed the Ravens last game. Vegas says, the refs were involved. A couple of the most famous plays in Steeler history, like the Immaculate Reception and Santonio's toe tap, right? Lindsay says, cry baby. Damn. I know. For some reason, I'm thinking Ken's a 9-year-old Ravens fan. That's the vibe I'm getting. Ooga Booga Tortilla says, once I realized the Patriots are truly legit and closer to 7, my impatient Steelers attitude went through the roof. The NFL left its team behind. Ryan says, I witnessed one of those wins in 2023. Ken says, nah, Steelers better off missing the playoffs, getting a higher draft pick, than getting destroyed in the wild card and being mid. Somber says, good Lord, the amount of idiots in that Tallman Tuesday chat. Holy delusional morning, Ryan. Morning for me. Great to see you, Somber. Always great seeing Somber on the terrible board. Ooga Booga says, bingo, my man. Always great seeing bingo on the board. Cody says, Ken Grady is a loser. He's not the official biggest loser this week, but Tyrone says, where's that dude? I knew he wouldn't be back. And that's what I said yesterday. I thought, you know what, it sucks because what if he shows up and we we got ousted by the internet. But you know what, I didn't really expect him to be back. He had nothing. The thing was, what's he going to come back by? Say they got cheated? I mean, that was going to be his argument for 2.5 hours. Come on. Steelers about Super Bowls and great not being mid-first round exit. Vegas, he didn't catch it. He dropped it according to the rules. Again, show me where we're wrong, please. By all means, I'll bring you up on the board if you have the video to provide that was a caught ball. And we got to see, again, 1 step, 2 steps, football move. If you could provide that, you'll have me sold. And I'll apologize. And I'll say, please, NFL, take the win back. We don't want it. We don't deserve it. Just take it, please. Please. Ken says Cody got beef in his ass. Ryan, LOL, somber. I didn't even watch all of it. Lindsay, he don't know ball. Vegas Ravens fans can't read. Ken is Izzy. Is that Izzy? No, it ain't Izzy. Tell me it ain't Izzy. Ken says likely caught a touchdown if DK. I did. I've only read the same message 9 times. Somebody got to tell me if this is Izzy though. Stop Tortilla, Ken O'Grady loser, somber. The recency bias in this fan base is wild. But you know what? This is hard. This is weird times, dude. Too, if you think about it, dude. As far as the Steelers fans go, they're kind of in this stage. We don't know what the fuck to think, So it's been odd. The bias has been strange. Ken says this Steelers first round exit though. Nobody's saying that they're good. Nobody has them winning the Super Bowl. To be honest with you, nobody looks that good in the AFC. So again, I have to find out. It might be. All right, that's not Izzy. All right, you're good. Ken says Aaron Rodgers, 42-year. Hey, our 42-year-old washed quarterback beat your MVP. Your MVP is 3-6 against us. We beat your MVP 9 of the last 11 times. And guess what? Those games didn't have what you're calling being rigged. Tortilla, Ken, you're so cool. How do I bitch and complain like you? I think that Ken might be the guy from Baltimore. I think that he might be. Little Kenny or whatever his name was. I think this might be him. How about the Deontay catch in 2023? That was rolled back. Yeah, exactly. Aaron Rodgers, blah, blah, blah. Jamal says just saw Roman's quote, so he didn't know he wasn't going to play until the game. That's a great question. What the fuck is going on with Roman Wilson? What's his deal? Why is he getting cut for guys that are just brought in off the roster, off the streets? Why is he getting he didn't play because MVS got boosted up. It's very questionable what the hell's going on with him. He's had ample opportunity. Early on, of course, he wasn't getting the looks. And then he started getting the looks. And then he started making catches. Wasn't anything terrible that happened that I would think would change the way that would go, the trajectory of his career. Still, I can't figure it out, guys. He just, no matter what he does, he never seems to make that ground up. And again, he was not available this week by activating MVS and also by activating Adam Thielen. So again, I don't know. I wish that I knew what the hell the thought process was. Why'd you draft him? He sat out he's going to be in the 3rd season before the guy even actually gets any legit playing time. By the way, this was your wide receiver snaps for the game on Sunday. DK Metcalf had 43. Adam Thielen, only being on the team for 2 days at that point, 25 snaps. Calvin Austin in the 3rd, 16 snaps. MVS, 16 snaps. Ben Skoranek, 9 snaps. And Scotty Miller, 3 snaps. Even Scotty Miller had 3 more snaps than Roman Wilson. Of course, Roman wasn't activated, but nevertheless, right? I'm sparking up this Ken guy getting on my nerves, Jamal said. Ken says Aaron Rodgers, 17 rushes, 26-yard, 1 touchdown. You know what, though? He's in the only... Tortilla says we be smoking that Ken Pack. Sommer Tomlin's excuse for giving Miller helmet over to Roman was he's a backup returner. Get the fuck out of here. Tyrone says you smoking that Ravens pack. Ken says if the playoffs started today, Steelers 4 would be 4 and would loot. Well, you're actually wrong, Ken. So again, I'm gonna have to correct you. It's been a theme of this show, and you know what? I'm happy to do it. I think that maybe you might be learning something here. So if the playoffs started today, because of the win last night by the Chargers, we would be playing the Chargers at home next week, next week in the playoffs. So that is that. So if there's anything else that you need updated on and corrected, please just continue to talk because we could help you as much as we can. Tyrone says we play the Chargers, you idiot. Cody says Keno loser. Lindsay says, yeah, Josh Allen is better than absolutely. Absolutely. Tortilla, good thing they don't start today. Jamal, nah, I'm working on my Dolphins pack, even though I don't like seafood. Tyrone says Chargers got 5 seed. Goofy. Come on, I know everybody. Let's help Ken out if we can. That's all we can do. We're nice. We're nice folks to us Yinzers. We'll help you out, buddy. Even if you are mentally slow. He says, I'm not a Ravens fan, but they got robbed. You got refs beef in you. We didn't ask the refs for anything. Did we? For one, the guy didn't make a third. He didn't make a football. You know what? I can't continue to even have this conversation. It's literally taking up too much of the show. And nobody's saying anything of any significance. You're literally beating the same dead horse over and over and over and over and continue to be wrong over and over and over and over. Jamal says, dude, who is your team? To Ken. Bingo says, why the fuck you keep talking about beef and ash? You got some kind of fixation. Ken says this. I'm not a Raven. Okay. Victory Tuesday. That's right, baby. This is Victory Tuesday. Getting my board jumping around like crazy. I do apologize. I know I do acknowledge that I'm not getting every message read. I apologize. I'm trying to keep up. Let's see right here, Tortilla. How many times are you gonna say that? Like I'm gonna all of a sudden give a fuck. Somber. I think it's a bot too, a retarded bot. Bingo making me want Arby's in here. Ken says, Terry Bradshaw, 4 rings, tells truth when he criticizes average. Tell me something I don't know. Ken needs a hug, Vegas says. Tyrone says, Jamal, I think Jen did it. Tortilla, Somber, you're probably right. Jamal says, Ken needs a team. Ken's still talking about sticking things up his ass. Curly fries, my man. We run the North. That's it, baby. Any way you want to slice it, you slice it. Because here is the fact of the matter. We are in first place. We're 7-6. The Ravens are 6-7. We're in the playoffs right now. The Ravens are not. They're under 500. They have notably, talking about the Ravens is irrelevant at this point. This team probably isn't even going to make a playoff run. They play at Cincy, who they just lost to, and then the Patriots, and then the Packers, and then again us. So come on, it's not even really worth talking about. Let's see. Somber says Ken needs a cat. Cody says if the playoffs started today, the Ravens would be at home. That's true. There you go, Ken. If the playoffs started today, the Ravens will be at home. Come on. They earned it. What can you do? Ken says, at Jamal, I don't care who wins or loses. I watch football to make money. So no, don't need a team to stay mad. Tyrone says, here we go, Steelers. Here we go, Steelers. Pittsburgh going to the Super Bowl. Tortilla, bro. Ken is definitely Izzy. Tortilla always switching teams. Ken says, I don't care if the Ravens miss. Hey, neither do we, man. Whatever. I hope they make it so we could beat them. That'd be nice. But there's no, I guess it could happen that way. Look at this one. Ken says 7-6 in a wild card exit. I don't believe any team could they could beat any playoff team. And no George Pickens. Let me tell you something about George Pickens. The Cowboys have a worse record than we do. So George Pickens all you want. We're 7-6. I think they're 6-1. So go. I mean, you could talk George Pickens all you want. Shady Grady. Hope you lost money. Bet your house on the next Raven guy. Yeah, there you go. Ken plays the field that way. He never gets his field. I've noticed that. And that's the only reason that's the only reason I'm entertaining him. Believe me, guys. He says, nope, I won $2,400 last week. So hold this L. So you picked the Steelers. Lindsay says, Cody, that's why he's really mad. Bet his house. Steelers took his house from him. That's what happened. Vegas says, I love how YouTube allows us to simply to put your mouse on someone's name and block them or report them if you hit those 3 little dots that appear on the right. I don't really see the use of blocking him. I mean, he hasn't said anything that Bingo says it's not fair. It's not fair. Acting like a kid throwing a tantrum in a store. That's what I'm reading. That's all I keep reading. Follows it up and say, why you crying? Somber, the fuck does your parlay have to do with anything? Ken says this. You hurt the Steelers. A wild card exit at best. Yeah, nobody's hurting. We won. We just beat the Ravens. We're in first place. We have a playoff spot. We're getting ready for the Dolphins. And that's the mercy of me not just kicking him off of here is the only reason that we'll continue to hear his nonsense. You got Rodgers beefing your ass. Says that to Lindsay. Vegas says, do you need to start a GoFundMe for Ken? I donate, but I don't have any fucks to give. Ken says, Steelers let overrated Rodgers win this one and only Super Bowl. Control your vessel. Control. You know what? Control. I was thinking that as well, but I didn't realize we won 22 straight Monday night games at home in a row. I guess I knew that, but it came back to me. So, they're going for 23 straight on Monday night at home. Whatever could justify that happening, I don't know. And again, Miami in December up north don't generally play good football. They generally don't. I don't want to say that, but they generally don't. Excuse me. Somber says, Ken loves talking about men's asses. I dub him Ken Diddy. You know what? I think Ken just did earn his name. Ken Diddy is the new name of Ken on the board today. Lindsay says, laugh my ass off, get a new line, Ken. Ken on the sideline with Lamar and Derrick Henry. Ken says this, why are you obsessed with Ravens fans? I'm not even a fan. Who's obsessed with... All right. The stupidity is what's kind of irritating because it's just nothing is even making sense coming from this person. So let's continue here. Cody says, no, you were a Raven. Ken says, okay, Steeler freak Ken, not hurt. Nothing you wrote isn't true. Somber says, listen here, Kenneth. You a Raven fan. Aaron Rodgers put up a great performance. Well, John, he is wrong. Something he said isn't true. It was an incomplete pass. That's where it all starts. Anything else that he says is irrelevant because again, he has. I mean, if that's what the argument is planted from and based off of, he literally has no argument because it was an incomplete pass by rule from what you've seen and by the way the officials called it. So he is wrong. He's absolutely wrong. Ryan says this, Aaron put up a great performance on the Ravens. He owns the Ravens. We own the Ravens. Ken says he has the meats. Tortilla, say it louder for the people in the front, Kenny. Kenny says 49ers 4-0 wins over Rodgers in the play. Who cares? See, that's what I'm saying. I can't with this dude anymore. It's just the stupidest stuff that has nothing to do with anything. Lindsay said his teams are the Bengals and the Saints. We got way too much to talk about. Aaron, what's up, bro? Always great seeing Aaron on the board. He says, here we go. Steelers. Tortilla says, says he's not a Ravens fan, but he hates the Steelers. Oh, my God, Lindsay, I'm crying. Tyrone, just learning Patriots cheated, don't forget. Also, control your vessel. The 49ers in the NFC, you nutcase. Nobody gives a shit. Come on. I tell the truth about the Steelers. They are an average team, and truth isn't hate. Nobody's saying that they're not, dude. You know what? I gotta. Somber says this got to be Izzy. A lot of things, guys. Let's get into some new stuff. We have a bunch to get into today. We do have to get into the grades. We have to get into statistics, numbers, everything that went down in this game. And of course, guys, we are getting ready for the Miami Dolphins this Monday night, looking for 23 straight home Monday night wins. I don't see Baltimore with any 23 straight Monday night home wins. But anyway, you slice it, this is week 15. Dolphins Monday night at home. The Steelers are 3.5-point favorites in this football game. And this is the big Minkah Fitzpatrick game. This is the big Jonnu Smith revenge game, if you will. I'd like to see Jonnu Smith go off in this game. He's due. He's due. What else, guys? What else do we want to get into? All right, so let's talk about some numbers that did go down this past weekend, guys. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers. We complained. They were playing very average football at best, very inconsistent, throwing 3 yard passes through the course of a game, not accomplishing a 20-yard pass play in over a month. This game, guys, that changed because they had 4 of them. Um, First 11 games, Aaron Rodgers, 20 plus yard pass plays. He was 7 for 29. 7 for 29. He completed 7 out of 29. On Sunday against Baltimore, 4 for 4. All 4 passes that went over 20 yards, he did complete. His passes were in the distance of 31 yards, 38 yards, 41 yards, and 52 yards. So again, does booing the coach out of the stadium at home every once in a while a bad thing? I don't think it is. We got their attention, didn't we? We played a lot better than we played the week prior. We came out looking ready to play. We came out looking interested. We came out with meaning, with purpose. We didn't let them rush all over us. We just had 250 yards against us. So again, uh, you know, I think being vocal as the consumer, it could go a long way. It certainly can. And again, the fan or the players in the locker room that didn't like what was being said about Mike Tomlin, they stepped up for him and they got it done. And I always say, if he changes the shit around and turns shit around, nobody's gonna want him gone. We haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. That's the problem. Turn things around. You don't even have to switch the coach. Just do something great. Get us out of this funk. Move in the right direction, and people will stop dissing on Mike Tomlin. It's not unwarranted. It's a team that hasn't won a playoff game in 9 years. It makes sense. Um, what else? What else can we get into? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come into this. I'm going to provide a service to our friend on the board, and I'm going to tell you exactly what the What up, gangsters? I'm back. Think we got things fixed. Let me know on the board if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. I do think I'm back. Boom! Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was, and I got to be honest with you. Yeah, John says I'm in the middle of the street in my underwear screaming. I was, as a matter of fact, I can't believe the amount of technical issues over the past couple weeks. It's almost like something I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it sure seems like if it's to continue on, guys. This is what these statistics look like for the game last weekend against the Ravens. Aaron Rodgers, 23 for 34, 284 yards on the day, 1 touchdown, a 103.1 rating. Oh, is he gone? Let's see what else. Kenneth Gainwell, not a great day rushing. The thing is, and that's what I think. I think that too, Corey. You know what the thing was? You would expect to see a little bit more rushing against a team like Baltimore. We didn't need to. We knew we could pass the ball. We knew we could move the ball down the field, and we did. And if this isn't any indication, guys, our leading rusher on 4 carries with 15 yards was Kenneth Gainwell, and Jalen Warren, guys, 8 carries for 13 yards. Kenneth also added a touchdown to those numbers. Metcalf, a huge day. 7 catches, 148, 21 yards per catch. And this was, in fact, his biggest game of his career in Pittsburgh so far. Second leading away in catches, at least, was Gainwell with 6 catches for 27 yards. He still remains, I think, 1 or 2 behind Metcalf overall. Jalen Warren with 3 catches for 49 yards. And then also the Eccles sack, James Pierre interception off of his cousin, Lamar Jackson, which I forgot about. Just because James Pierre is, he's pretty irrelevant, and he's just been picking it up recently and becoming a good defensive player. So that interception against his cousin Lamar Jackson, I think that just takes him up to a whole nother level. It really does. But that was cool for him. Over on the other side, this is what Baltimore looked like. Lamar Jackson, the MVP. He goes 19 for 35, 219 yards, a touchdown, an interception, sacked twice with a rating of 71 on the day. Derrick Henry not able to get the century mark, 25 carries, 94 yards for Derrick Henry on the day. Isaiah Flowers with 8 catches, 124 yards led the way as far as receiving. And Isaiah, not bloody likely, 4 catches, 25 yards. Didn't get the game-winning touchdown. This is what your team stats look like for the game against Baltimore. They outgained us total yards 420 to 318. However, passing the ball, we outgained them 284 to 203. Rushing yards, they outgained us 217 to 34. Yards per game, we outgained them 6.2 to 5.5. They outgained us in first downs 22 to 13. We bettered them in third down efficiency as we went 6 for 14. They went 7 for 18. They had 77 total plays. We had 51. That's what I'm saying. If you have 77 plays and we have 51, and you're going to complain about a referee all game for the loss, maybe your team doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. And I'm not saying that we are this great, we're not running the table right now, but I got to be honest with you. That team that you've seen play last week and lost to the Bengals the week before, I certainly don't favor the Ravens here. I just don't. Nothing to me favors them, in my opinion. Let's go on. They only punted the ball twice. We punted the ball 4 times. We sacked them twice. They sacked us none. This is a Ravens defense. This is when I knew. This is when I knew we had the Ravens, because their defense is whack, man. Nothing like a Ravens defense, and we ended up doing our thing against them. Again, an offense that struggled all year. When they're able to move the ball like we did, it tells you a little bit about your team as well. Time of possessions, 33-44, their favor. against our 26-16. Tackles, we made 43. They made 25. Field goals, we were 2 for 2. They were 3 for 3. In red zone attempts, we were 50%. They were just 33% on the day in their stadium. And I got to be honest with you, I don't remember who it was, if it was little Joey or whoever it was last week was saying about our stadium empties out. You know what? That is one of the most common things. Did you happen to see Baltimore Stadium in the third quarter? The place was emptied out. People were ready to go. The Tard's back, I see. Again, talking stupid. Ain't nobody playing no Bills, no first round right now. It ain't even a thing. My man. I'm going to continue to move forward, though, guys, because we do have a lot of things to get into today, as Mike did have all the injuries and everything of importance that did come out of the Mike Tomlin press conference today, across the bottom of the board earlier. That information all did go. What else do we have? Clinched the division by week 18. We got to that. Again, guys, we might not even have to see Baltimore again before we clinch the playoffs, providing we win against Cleveland and Miami, and they lose to Cincinnati and either Green Bay or New England. If those situations play out, the week 18 matchup against the Ravens will not even count. Or they're out. They're done. And maybe we could play Will Howard in week 18 and get a look at what Will Howard looks like. I guess that might be the best case scenario. What else could we get into? Ravens suck. I agree, Lindsay. Anybody still? Can you still hear me? Just let me know on the board at any point if I do become unhearable again, because I'll try to do what I can to prevent that from happening. DK Metcalf also along with the people that were injured in the game last week, guys. Okay, thank you, guys. Greatly appreciate that. Guys, so all the injuries that we did see, did anybody catch this? DK Metcalf didn't come home from Baltimore on time. He spent the night in Baltimore on Sunday because he apparently there was some kind of stomach issue, guys. Let me see if I can pull. Metcalf stays in Baltimore after suffering from a stomach pain. So remember, who was it last week? Somebody said Patrick Queen. He got food poisoning last year when he went to Baltimore and played. This week, after some kind of stomach pain, DK Metcalf did not leave with the team. He ended up staying overnight for the in the hospital, and he was due back yesterday. So I suppose that I hadn't heard anything else, unless anything was said during the conference today. Also, the Steelers, they are off today. Again, they'll be back at it, I do believe, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think I read, and then Saturday they'll start getting prepared to head for the big game, of course, at home against the Dolphins. So they had a couple days off. You know what? I think they watched film yesterday. They're taking today and tomorrow off, and then they'll be back at practice Thursday, I do believe was what the scoop was. Somber says he got hit in the abdomen, felt pain, decided to play it safe. Hey, not bad. Not a bad idea. All right, let's do this. Guys, Aaron Rodgers, 32 career games with a touchdown pass and a rushing touchdown. 32. He did that this past week, guys, and that moves him into some elite company. That's right. Steve Young. He did it 31 times. Aaron Rodgers did pass Steve Young by doing that and accomplishing that. The only people that are ahead of Steve Young, or I'm sorry, ahead of Aaron Rodgers, not Lamar Jackson, I can tell you that. Only Cam Newton with 45 and Josh Allen with 50. No players have more rushing touchdowns and throwing touchdowns in a single game than those three players. Number one, Josh Allen with 50 of them in his young career, I'd have to say still. Cam Newton with 45. And again, Aaron Rodgers 32 times, just passing Steve Young. So say whatever you want about your Lamar. Aaron Rodgers only behind two of the best to ever do it. So much stuff, guys. Let's look at what the divisions do look like at the moment. We will continue to move on. Steelers did take back over. The Ravens fall to 6-7. And also around the league, there's just crazy wins and crazy games this weekend, and changed a lot of things up. So here we go. Steelers are in the division 7-6 in first place. The Ravens 6-7. The Bengals 4-9. The Browns 3-10. The Bengals losing to the Buffalo Bills this past weekend really hurt their chances at keeping up with the division and the playoffs. But again, everybody in the division lost this weekend, besides for the Steelers. So that plays to our advantage, guys, as it did earlier in the season when we were able to make that initial space between us and everybody else. This is what the AFC East looks like. The Patriots 11-2, Buffalo Bills 9-4, the Dolphins coming to town with a 6-7 record, and also the Jets with the 3-10 in the basement. The AFC North, or I'm sorry, the South is getting very interesting in my opinion. The Jaguars, they beat the Colts 9, and they're 9-4 in first place. The Houston Texans are in second place at 8-5. The Colts dropped to third place with an 8-5, but they lose Danny Dimes. Again, Phillip Rivers trying out for the Colts today. It is where he finished his career after playing majority of his career in San Diego. Of course, he finished up his one season with Indianapolis. He's coming back, and they're meeting with the team today to try out with the Colts to possibly be their quarterback. So keep your eye on that. In the AFC West, the Broncos 11-2, the Chargers 9-4, getting the big win last night over Philadelphia. The Chiefs 6-7, very close to being eliminated from the playoffs. Also, and the Raiders just terrible, sitting at 2-11 in last place. Over in the NFC East, the Eagles are in the lead, 8-5. The Cowboys 6-1 with the big George Pickens. Guys, we have more wins than the Cowboys. Yes, I acknowledge that he's not putting up the numbers, DK. However, he had a nice day. 7 catches, a bunch of yards, guys, this past game. George Pickens' team, 6-1. Steelers, of course, are 7-6. The Cowboys 3-10, or I'm sorry, the Commanders 3-10. The Giants 2-11 in the basement. In the NFC North, the Packers lead the way with a 9-3-1. The Bears dropped to second place with a 9-4 record. The Lions, we'll be seeing them in a couple of weeks. They are 8-5 in third place, and the Vikings fall to 5-8. The Buccaneers, they fall to the Saints. I don't know how the hell that even happened in that division, the NFC South. NFC South, I'm sorry. Buccaneers 7-6, Panthers 7-6, Falcons 4-9. And the Saints, even with that win over the division-leading Buccaneers, they do sit there with a 3-10 record. And finally, the Rams and Seahawks both 10-3. The Rams and Seahawks both 10-3. 49ers 9-4, and the Cardinals in the basement with a 3-10 record. That wraps up what the divisions look like. This, guys, is what we already did go over with all the teams that mean something to us in our division. We went over their schedules again. I think Cincinnati worked their way out of this thing. I think if they would have continued to win, if they would have won last week and kept it going, they would have stayed in there. But now they dropped to 3 games behind us in the division. I think it's 3 games behind us. And again, with 4 weeks left, I think it's going to be a very difficult thing for Cincinnati to do. I think we're in the driver's seat. Say what you want about the Steeler team. We are truly in the driver's seat at this point, guys. Let's see what else we got going on here. Mike Tomlin expects more from Juan Valdez-Scantling. Coach T expects more from MVS and Adam Thielen after a whole week of practice. Of course, both of them had participated. I think Adam had a couple catches. One catch I know for sure, maybe 2. And MVS, he missed a pass later in the game. It was in and out of his hands. But we're expected to see them. I don't know what that's going to do for the Roman Wilson situation. Of course, Roman being dropped down after the addition of Adam Thielen and after bringing up MVS. And so, again, I don't know what they're planning on what they're going to do with Roman Wilson. What about Dylan Cook's debut, guys? A lot to be said about losing our second left tackle. Again, one of the most important positions on the field. You talk about left tackle. Broderick Jones goes down. His backup, Andrews Peak, goes down. And Dylan Cook getting his first action at left tackle. We didn't give up any sacks. Now, am I confident that this dude that's just played his first game is going to be able to continue? Probably not and do that. But again, guys, we brought him in for his first action, and he gave up no sacks. So we got one there. Let's talk about the other play. I'm surprised this one isn't being talked about more. Where Aaron Rodgers was able to complete a pass, unlike Isaiah Likely. Aaron Rodgers earlier in the game throws the ball. It gets batted into the air. Aaron catches it. One of their players rips it out of his hand eventually. They call it an interception. Once they go back and look at it, Aaron Rodgers, both feet in a football move was accomplished, was achieved. Because once his knee touched down, that's the third move. That's what Isaiah not bloody likely missed out on. He didn't have that third move. When Aaron Rodgers' knees dropped and hit that ground, that's what likely was missing. And that's why Aaron Rodgers completed an important pass to himself that likely was not able to complete an important pass later in the game. And Brett Favre did do that, Corey, yes. I agree. Offensive line looked great. They gave up no. Again, a Baltimore Ravens game. Now, granted, I understand the Ravens aren't what they used to be or what they even should be. But again, not a single sack against us in our inconsistent team by the Ravens. You gotta like those things there. Those kind of things always play out. Let's see what else. Some older stuff here to get back to, guys. Cam Hayward last week, he received a small fine by the amount of $11,593 for taunting Josh Allen. Again, this is a little bit of a scoop from last week, but I just got the numbers over the weekend, and again, we didn't get to talk yesterday. $11,593 is what Cam Hayward is being fined for taunting Josh Allen last week. You remember he kept going on and on because he got kicked in the stomach or something. So his fine on that was $11,593. Also, Aaron Rodgers becomes the oldest player in franchise history. That's right. No Pittsburgh Steeler has ever been older than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers became the oldest Pittsburgh Steeler in franchise history to rush for a touchdown. There's never been anybody older that wore a Pittsburgh Steeler uniform that did, in fact, run for a touchdown. So again, it's been fun. And no matter what anybody says, Aaron Rodgers, he's not the answer. He's not going to win a Super Bowl. He's not going to be. At the end of the day, we're sitting here 7-6. We're sitting in a playoff spot. Am I saying we're going to run the table? I am not. But I'm saying this. Isn't the league weird enough this year that maybe, just maybe, a team that you wouldn't think can get it done could actually make some noise in the playoffs? That's all I'm saying. And again, no dominant teams in the second round. Teams that you're going to get in the second round, I think, are not going to say aren't good. They're beatable, though. The Chargers, I think they're beatable. They beat us. I acknowledge that. The Colts, I think they're working their way out of a playoff spot. But again, New England, a team that we beat. I'm just saying, you got to hear us out at least. You got to hear us out. And then beyond that, it's our back against the wall, and it's us against the world, just as it is all the rest of the time, guys. And it is what it is. We can't expect the rest of the league and the rest of the fan bases to give us respect. Fuck them. That's what we got each other, man. We're gonna get there. We're gonna do this. Somber says Cam and Black were playing in the dirt all second half. Let me see a couple more things here. We do got to get into the grades for the game. We got to give a game ball away. A lot of things still to go on today. Just so much information compiled over the couple days, which I do apologize. I still have the George Pickens stuff. Do you guys want to hear that? You guys want to hear what went down with George Pickens and Richard Sherman? There was more into that. And then also there was information, of course, last week about it came out about Mike Tomlin. You guys want to hear that? About his contract situation, of course. Last week everyone was calling for him to be fired. And then a lot of people says, well, he's still on contract. We got the scoop on that, guys. You guys want to hear the details on that before we do move on? Let me know on the board. Let me check what else. And this was said by Aaron Rodgers, and I respect this in a way. After the game, and I'm sure everybody's seen it, Aaron Rodgers, when questioned about it, he says maybe the win over the Ravens means you guys will shut the hell up for a week. I thought it was funny. He's got us some wins. I'm not going to complain about it. Let's see. What did we say we were going to do? Okay, let's get back. I just want to briefly go over this here. This is what's said from Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter about Mike Tomlin last week, guys. After the debate, maybe he might be fired, maybe he's still on contract. All this, Adam Schefter says the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to fire Mike Tomlin, but they do have a significant decision to make early next year. After the season, Tomlin's contract will have 2 years remaining on it, 2026, and a team option for 2027. But according to league sources, the Steelers must decide whether to pick up the option on Tomlin's contract by March 1st. So again, let me see what this. I also have a second source here. The organization has until March 1st to decide whether to pick up the 2027 option for Tomlin's contract. While fire Tomlin chants filled Acrisure Stadium last week, the Rooney family has no intention on firing. However, if they decline the option, it would force Tomlin to coach out of his final year of his deal in 2026 without long-term security. So that's that. Hey, listen, we won. I'm not trying to kick any dust up today, believe me. I'm just trying to get this information out because I don't want it to go a whole nother day without doing so. And with that being said, let me also get out with this little scuffle between George Pickens again on the Dallas Cowboys, who has a worse record than us. So again, how's that working out for you guys? This is what George Pickens said in response to Richard Sherman last week. As Richard Sherman said, George Pickens looked lazy and disinterested, and he was loafing. This is what George Pickens says. Quote, "This is a team game, LMAO. I'm not the only one on the team. Stop becoming an analyst and talking about one player when he be playing a team's game. Lots of shit has to go right for explosive plays." And it's funny because I thought former players would know that, such as Richard Pussy-ass Sherman, who, by the way, ain't shit without the Legion of Boom. We all remember San Francisco brother. Much love. Don't speak on me unless you know the game of football. As a former player, not a dick riding fan analyst that act like a double team is not a thing, or a certain bracket coverages don't exist. Knowing you played ball, which showed me you are a leech weirdo, is what George Pickens said to the response to Richard Sherman, of course. And this is Richard Sherman's response to that. He says, "LOL, kid, hasn't done enough to merit a response from me. I was working on my third consecutive first-team All-Pro and second Super Bowl appearance at the same point in my career. LOL, I made an All-Pro team and Super Bowl in San Francisco, but that's the fall off for me." So again, whether these two continue to go at it with one another, it's more entertaining than anything to me. I think it's funny, and I'll continue to follow it. But a couple of egos. It's funny to see these guys go off on one another and what they have to say, and just how they feel about one another. So that is the scoop, guys. That gets us up to date on all the Mike Tomlin. Again, we're not going to kick any dust up today. It's too good. It's this Victory Tuesday, for crying out loud. We're getting ready for the Dolphins and Dolphin Week in this Week 15 matchup on Monday night. But we will stay up on those stories, as they do have our Steelers and former Steelers involved. Certainly our head coach as well, with his that scoop with him as well. Let me take a look, because we have to get into, I got to give results for the CBS Pick'ems. I do want to say great job to everybody. Everybody did a fantastic job on the picks this week. Let me just make sure I ain't missing nothing before I do move forward. So I think we might have got everything that I'm trying to get into. I don't want to miss anything, though. What about Highsmith's game-ending sack? I like that. Watt was very active. Watt was doing a lot of things. He didn't at the end of the game, I'm thinking this is the time when we could certainly use a nice strip sack, and Watt could do it. But you know what? Alex Highsmith was able to get a sack to finish up the game, shut it down, and close it out. I'm cool enough with that. But TJ Watt, guys, is he performing up to what you think yet? And maybe, just maybe, we start hitting our stride now. I don't know. What if Watt really comes alive over these next 3 weeks? All right, let's do this. Let's knock out these CBS Pick'ems results. And again, we have to get to grades for the day. We have to get to game ball. This is what the CBS Pick'ems did look like. I do want to say congratulations to everybody this week. But first and foremost, I do want to say congratulations to Vegas. as Vegas did win this week's CBS Pick'ems, guys. He got 10. Mike, Tyrone, Finch, Derpy all had 9. Phil, Joe, Yinzer Joe, RB, myself had 8. Corey, Somber, 7. Cody, Patricia, 6. Richard, 4. So that is the way that it went down as far as the week went. This is what the up-to-date standings look like in the CBS Pick'ems, guys. Again, only 4 weeks left to get back in it. I'm trying to catch RB. Every time I think I got a step on him, he pulls away. He's been a tough one all year and still in first place, but only by a point now. RB 141 on the season in first place. Vegas 140, just 1 point behind. Derpy, myself, and Corey in third place with 133. Finch in fourth place by himself with 130. Then Richard with 129. Mike and Cody with 128. Phil 122. Tyrone 54 passes up Jamal. Jamal still at 52. Yinzer Joe 47 points. Somber 42 and Patricia 18. I do want to say to everybody, great job. These guys have been kicking ass in the picks. But I do want to say this. RB's been hard. He's been tough all season. He has been consistent. He's been what the Steelers wanted as far as consistency, and we're all trying to catch him. But Vegas within 1, finally, of somebody catching up to RB. Feel the Steel. I do want to say this before I don't want to miss you. I don't know if you're sticking around for a long time, but I received an offer for you. Phil, let me know if you're still here. Somebody contacted me about you. Let me know if you're still here. I do want to let you know on that because, again, I think it's pretty interesting for Phil the Steel. So that is the way that the CBS Pick'ems played out, guys. If you go right on our main YouTube page, click on the logo. Once you click on our logo, it'll take you to the to our main YouTube page, and there's a blue link right at the top that says that the CBS Pick'ems. You could go in there, click on that. Takes 30 seconds to sign up. Costs absolutely nothing. Get in, make the picks with the rest of the guys. A bunch of guys on the terrible board, a bunch of us here on the show. Just do it every week. It's a lot of fun. Again, Vegas with the big win this week, and he pulls within 1 point of RB. Guys, still a lot. 4 weeks to go in this, so get your picks in. Don't forget, by Thursday night, before the next game does kick off to start off week 15, and get them CBS Pick'ems in. And like I said, get in and join. Phil, my man, somebody reached out to me over the weekend and said this. They said it was about your TJ Watt optimism, and they want to challenge you. I have a person that wants to challenge you on this show to a TJ Watt debate. They are a total TJ Watt hater. You are the total opposite. And this person who you may or may not know from this show put out a challenge to you, Phil, and he wants to know if you want to come on screen and have a debate. He will be anti-Watt. He says you could be pro-Watt right here on the show. Moving forward, we'll set it up. We'll get it set up if you're interested. It can't be through the board. It's got to be something that, we'll make it a thing. So let me know if you're interested. Again, this person is as anti-Watt as you are pro-Watt. So again, it can be a lot of fun. Let me know. Let me know if you accept the challenge. Again, you might even know who I'm talking about, and I think that you probably do. But let me know. Let me know if you're interested. Feel the Steel. This person does. He's encouraging you on here. He's saying, do it, Phil. Tyrone says, shit, let me cook on his ass. So I think everybody would like to see this, Phil. It's totally up to you. I'm not gonna think anything of you if you don't. But I'm just saying the offer is out there. I think the board could certainly be a fair. What's the word I'm looking for? A jury. Maybe the board could be the jury to let to finally decide who is right. Is TJ worth it? Is he not worth it? Let me know. We'll figure something out if you do have interest in that. Cody is really encouraging you to do it. John says, Phil, do it. It will get Mike back. You know what? That's not who it is. It's close. And you'll know who it is once we do talk about it. Richard, my man, always great seeing Richard. And again, if I'm missing, I apologize. You guys are freaking awesome. I can't keep up, and that's a good thing. And I go, believe me, there's none of these messages that I don't see. I go back and read them, so I try to get them out there and and mirror them back out to everybody. But if I don't, believe me, I do see them all eventually. Do it, Cody's saying. So that is CBS Pickups, guys. Make sure and get those in before Thursday night. And Derpy got screwed, or he could have potentially get screwed because Derpy doesn't ever put tiebreakers down. So I was kind of hoping that it would come down to him and whoever for the win, and he would lose on the tiebreaker because for whatever reason he doesn't listen to me and never does the tiebreakers. He does sometimes. That's after I remind him. It's not Finch, Cody. It's not Finch. I think Phil knows who I'm talking about. I really do. Tyrone says Finch. It's not Finch. It's a little bit older, a little bit farther back in the show than Finch. But again, I think once I do show and say, certainly be people here that does recognize this person, and I think it could be a lot of fun. Because again, the intensity that Phil brings for Watt, this person has he mirrors the intensity or the anti-Watt. So again, I think it could be a really good debate. I think both sides could have a lot of good points. So again, I'm not going to pressure. I'm not going to even stay on Phil, but I'm just saying, Phil, I'm putting the invite out there. This person put the invite out there. If you accept it, I'll bring it up and tell you who it is, and we'll talk more about it and start setting that up. But that is out there, Phil. The great debate is what we will call it. Tomlin's in the house. I see that. What's up, Tomlin? Making his way onto the board, the terrible board after his press conference today. But guys, we do have to get into this. Let's get into All right, here we go, guys. This is time. Let's get time. I need your help. I need your help on the board because this is something that Mike and I would have usually done. Let's talk about the grades for this week, guys. Throw your grades up on. Oh, hold on. Fearless Steel says F no, because Watt, just like 7, has given Teflon Don his winning career. Big Ben did it. Watt won many games for Teflon Don. That's who. So it's a turn down. The offer is turned down, which is fine. I'm just saying I could have. It could have been a lot of fun, but if you're not up for it, that's fine. But I do need your help on the board, guys. Let me go through these grades real quick, as you would have graded in schools: A, B, C, D, F. Quarterback play. Teflon Don Ryan is who he refers to. Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is Teflon Don from Phil. Guys, let's talk about the quarterbacks, guys. What do you give the quarterback play? I would say I would give Aaron Rodgers an A-. Aaron Rodgers played his ass off. Aaron Rodgers got a broken wrist still. Aaron Rodgers, he won his football game over the Baltimore Ravens, and again with good numbers, and never got sacked. Didn't throw in any interceptions, didn't lose the ball. So again, I have to go A- for our quarterback, who did take us into this division rival game against the Baltimore Ravens, which is never easy, and come out with a win. I say our quarterback, it's an A-. Richard says B for the quarterback. It's not Miz. This Mike Tomlin stops in every once in a while, and we do appreciate him stopping in. Quarterbacks A, Tyrone got an A. For quarterbacks, a B for Richard. All right, let's go to the running backs. I got to give the running backs an incomplete. Running backs incomplete again. I think 13 and 14 yards. You're right, Bingo. A B plus, over 100% quarterback rating. Again, guys, running backs. What do you guys think? Lindsay saying B plus as well. Let me know what you think about these running backs, guys. That's just something that I was wondering. Again, I'm pulling the numbers up to have them in front of us here, but the Steelers, I give an incomplete for the running game this past weekend, and I'm going to go right here and right here, and I'm going to pull their stats up, and I'm going to tell you that Gainwell, 4 carries, 15 yards, led the way. 4 carries, 15 yards, led the way. Jaylen Warren, 8 carries, 13 yards. I don't want to give them a bad grade because they didn't fail. They just didn't get a lot of opportunities. Again, 12 carries for 28 yards between our 2 running backs. So for that reason alone, I am giving them. I got to give them an incomplete. I can't give them a failing grade. They just didn't do enough. Phil says this. Read it again. Watt is giving. And I understand. And I read it the first time. it could be fun. Again, I think that he has some points, and again, I think you have a lot of points as well. That's why I think it could be fun. So again, I hope you consider it, and it could be a lot of fun. So here we go, guys. Let's move on. The tight ends. How did the tight ends play for you guys? Of course, such a big part of this offense this season, this offseason. It's all about the tight ends. Let me pull up the information. Of course, Darnell Washington, 1 catch, 12 yards before he gets concussed. Jonnu Smith, 1 target, no catches. And who else? Who the hell else do we got back here? Oh, where's Muth? Oh, Pat Freiermuth, 2 catches, 9 yards. What do you guys give the tight ends? Try to keep up with what's on the board here as well. Getting C's for the tight ends again. Pat Freiermuth, 2 for 9. Jonnu Smith, 0 for 1, no yards. I got to give these guys an incomplete as well. If I got to give them a grade, I'd give them a C. They didn't do anything bad. They didn't do anything great. As average can be, in my opinion. Let's talk about the wide receivers. The wide receiver, our wide receiver guys is this. DK Metcalf, 7 catches, 148 yards, 52-yard long. That was on 12 targets, 21.1 yards per catch. Other receivers, notable, Calvin Austin, 1 catch, 31 yards. It was nice to see that. Even Benny Sco, 1 catch, 13 yards. Adam Thielen getting a grab, 1 catch for 4 yards in his first game with the Steelers. And finally, even Valdez Scantling, he even gets some playing time, drops the 1 pass thrown to him. Guys, what do you give these wide receivers? You can't. What can you say about a DK Metcalf 7 catch, 148-yard day? Bingo says receivers including back checkdowns and an A. Phil says this hater wants to shit on water. He wants to debate you. Yeah, I mean, he's going to say things that you don't like, I'm sure, and likewise. But that's what a debate is. You'll prove your point, and he'll prove his point, and we'll let the people decide. I want to be fair. You put your argument out, he'll put his argument out, and then the board they can decide. I don't think anybody's going to be biased. Steeler Freak says 34 yards rushing, F running backs in the O-line. But the O-line, though, they didn't let up a single sack, though, as well, John. B+, Ryan is giving them. Metcalf gets an A. He ran a special teams. Yeah, he did. And I think you even had Jalen Ramsey back in the victory formation at one point. So a lot of different things going on. Tyrone saying maybe swing on over to Talking Trash. That they always have their stage open, man. But again, it's this particular person. They went at it in the past, and I think that's what can make it super interesting. But I want to get his I want to get his acceptance before I do go into it anymore. All right, let's talk about the offensive line, guys. No sacks given up. Yes, the running game wasn't great, but again, on a minuscule amount of carries, what can you really expect? 12 carries between the two running backs, between Warren and Gainwell, 15 yards and 13 yards on 4 and 8 carries. Again, I don't know if the offensive line was the big issue here. I just think it was the game plan. I don't think that it wasn't in their books. We were able to move the ball through the air. That was the plan. That was what they wanted to do. Offensive line didn't allow a single sack. And again, third string left tackle. That is possibly one of the most important positions on the field. And again, with a third string left tackle, still not letting up any sacks. I got to give that to the guys on the Hogs up front. So I'm going to give them a B. The lack of rushing yards wasn't because of the offensive line. Yes, the Ravens defense is a little better than average stopping the run. Yes, they were able to make the stops, but again, after 12 carries, did you really try? Between two guys, 12 carries. Did you really try? Did you really try to run the ball? I don't think that we did. All right. Now, you don't have to, Phil. You don't have to, and again, I'm just saying, Phil says I don't have to prove a point. Watt gives and but I think there's a lot of people that can debate that, and that's the only reason he wants to do it. Again, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated. He says Watt gives and has given to the B and G brother. No need to. I respect what Watt has done for the law. All right, no problem. Again, I'll let him know. And there's no pressure to. Could have been a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see what both of you had to say. But again, I will let him know on that. Let's hop over to the defensive side of the ball, guys. The defensive line. How do you think that they looked? How did the harmonless D look to you? How did Cam? How did Cam look? YA Black. What do you think about this defensive line? They kept Derrick Henry under 100 yards. They sacked Lamar a couple times. Once, certainly when it really mattered to close out the game. Ryan is saying C+ for the defensive line. Again, if these backs and skill players are as good as we're told they are, I think the defensive line played a damn good game, right? They have an MVP at quarterback. They have a running Derrick Henry. Come on. Defensive line, I'm going to go somewhere right between what Ryan and Tyrone saying. It was, I'd say a B-. They did well enough. Linebackers. How do we feel about the linebackers? How did PQ look? How did Alex Highsmith look? Wilson? What do you guys think? Linebackers, did they live up to standard? Did they live up to it? Were they able to shut down the short passes? Were they able to stop the run? Were they able to do the things, thump in the middle? I think that they did. Not on a high level, but better than they did in the past. And again, if they continue to move in the right direction, I think things can be good. But that's the problem. Getting these guys' head in the right game every Sunday afternoon, Monday night, whatever the case may be, and getting them to do it consistently. That's where the challenge is. It's not skill on this team. I'm going to say that. I'm going to stick with it. It's not skill. This team, we got a decent squad. We're not the worst. We're not the best. But you know what? There's only two teams that are. There's a team that's the worst and a team that's the best. And then in the middle, there's everybody else. And you know what? We're fighting just like everybody else is. I agree, Tyrone. PQ came to play. He went against his old team, and he came to play. A lot of concussions in this game, huh? Let's go to the third layer, guys. Defensive backs. Joey Porter got his couple of calls. That's expected. Let me see. Let me get back into these receivers again real quick here. Flowers, 8 catches, 124. He did his thing, but you know what? I called that last week. I said, I'm not afraid of Likely. I'm not afraid of any of these guys. It's little Zay Flowers. He finds ways. He's small. He's fast. He gets open. He finds soft spots in his zone, which is why I don't understand why Calvin Austin can't do this and be the same kind of player that Zay Flowers is. He's got the same size. He's got the same skill set. He's got the same game. I would like to see him play a little bit more like Zay Flowers. Maybe then we'll start to see Calvin Austin moving in the right direction. DB, C, always average at best is what Bingo's going with as far as the DBs. Lamar Jackson, 19 for 35, 219 yards, a touchdown, interception, of course. What do you give these DBs, guys? Echols got a sack. Come on. C+ by Ryan. It wasn't great, but again, what do we say? Shut Henry down, make Jackson beat you with his arm. We shut him down for the most part. Jackson couldn't beat us with his arm, and that's how we won the football game. John says the NFL is $1 billion industry. It should be what you've done for me lately. It isn't McDonald's drive-through. What about special teams? Anything special on the special teams you guys seen? Let's give a grade out to the special teams performance for the weekend, guys. Kickers, punters, returners, coverage. Ben Skoranek looking scrappy as hell on the outside on when he was gunning. A. Tyrone saying A to the special teams. Coaching. Here's one that fluctuates. Huh? 1 week it's up here. 1 week it's down here. What do you think about coaching? I agree. I thought that the coverage was great on punts as well, Tyrone. What do you guys think about coaching? What do you think about our coordinators this week? What do you think about Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin? What do we think about our head coach? Again, this is a week-to-week topic. And then finally, guys, overall, what do you give the Steelers' performance overall? When it comes down to it, it's a Ravens game. It's a division game. It's probably one of the biggest rivals in pro sports. The Steelers and the Ravens, comparable with Yankees and Red Sox and Lakers and Celtics. I mean, if you're going to count old-time rivalries like the Bears and the Packers, you better have the Steelers way up there, guys. The Steelers came in with a couple guys that's never been involved in the Steelers-Raven rivalry. They stepped up. They made plays. They won the football game. Guys, overall, what do you give this Pittsburgh Steelers team's performance for over the past weekend is what I ask on the board. With that being said, guys, game ball. Does anybody have a game ball that they would like to throw out there? Ryan's saying B+ for Smith, C+ for Austin, A- for Tomlin. Guys, game balls. Anybody want to throw their hat in on a game ball? I'm not. Let me take it. You know what? I got to be honest with you. I didn't really take much time to think about the game ball. I'm going to give my game ball to. I'm going to give it to Aaron Rodgers. DK easy is what Tyrone is saying. And you know what? That's a good one too. With these numbers, come on. 7 catches, 148 yards. That's it. That's easy for me. I think that Rodgers he's kind of the centerpiece. So he's for me an easier pick. But again, DK is not wrong. That could very well be what 9 out of 10 people says. Just for me, in particular, he led the way. He's the guy, the quarterback that's in the middle of making it all happen. So for that reason, I'm going to stick with the quarterback. But there's nothing wrong with the DK Metcalf game ball. Anybody else? Any different answers on the board as far as a game ball? Lindsay got DK or Rodgers. Ryan got Rodgers. Metcalf for Richard as well. Bingo says game ball for A-Rod, smoking the tennis balls off of his walker. Metcalf. So there you go, guys. It's safe, I think, between these two guys. Cody says Metcalf gets the game ball. He fried Humphrey. He sure did. What do you think, John? Who do you give the game ball to? I'm saying Aaron Rodgers, but again, DK Metcalf is definitely not wrong. If I didn't say Aaron Rodgers, it would be DK Metcalf. So I just want to put it out there like that. Patrick Queen, big game against his old team. No two ways about that. So there you go, guys. That is the game ball as we are starting to round third base on the show today, guys. I do want to say I appreciate all the input, all the feedback, all the messages. It would probably take about 6 or 7 hours to get through the messages, which I wouldn't mind doing. But you guys are killing it today. Again, there's not one that I missed. So again, I appreciate every single message on the terrible board. You guys are all doing your thing, man. Bringing that Monday night that Monday victory Monday energy into Tuesday. And that's what we needed to have here today on the show because that's just how this week played out, unfortunately. But guys, tomorrow we'll be again getting ready. Miami is ahead of us. I'm over the Baltimore Ravens talk. Again, by the time we play them next time, they might not even be relevant enough to even be concerned with. So again, this couldn't play out any better. And another thing, let's just say we win this game against the team that we're supposed to win. Yes, the Dolphins are playing better. I acknowledge that. But let's say we win this game that we're supposed to win. Now you're 8-6. So no matter what it is the Ravens do, a win or loss, you have 3 games left. You have that basically 2+ game tiebreaker advantage. Again, with the tiebreakers coming back our way, we now have the head-to-head against Baltimore. We now have the division record against Baltimore. We owned the first few tiebreakers on top of being ahead of them by a whole game. So again, it's the schedule's more favorable for us. I like our chances. I think we head to January, and I agree, Tyrone. It's a must-win in the sense that I think that every game is a must-win. However, we can get back in if we don't win, which I don't want to even talk about. I think that it's a very important game, as every game that you're heading into is the most important game that you play. But we're technically not to the point where it is a must, but it's a must. If you want the confidence, if you want the momentum, if you want all those things go forward, and again with the Lions after that, you're going to really want to win this football game. If you lose this game and then you're heading against Detroit, and let's say Baltimore beats Cincinnati, then it's a whole new situation. So again, winning this game, it's huge. Literally not must win, but figuratively very much so a must win for these Pittsburgh Steelers guys. And again, that's we get this win, Cincinnati loses again. We could be in the playoffs before we even play Baltimore if a couple things happens. So What else do we got, guys? What else do we got here? I'm just wondering if that guy was that Ravens fan from last week. I was really hoping that he was going to show back up this week. All right, let's get into this, guys. So I think that was a no from Phil. Is that correct? I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to muff this up. I think that Phil said he wasn't interested in doing that with. I think that's the way I take it. Oh, there he is. Phil Steele says, "Yo, Ryan, tell that hater to go back and watch." I mean, you tell him. That's what I'm saying. Tell him. I don't want to tell him. I have no interest one way or another. I like Watt, and he is what he is. But if you want to tell him, I'll certainly set it up. And I think that could be, part of the entertainment value of the whole thing. All right, Phil. Phil says it's I put fuck no, it's not debatable. Interesting. Very interesting. And I will certainly pass that along. Of course, Brian is who I'm talking about. He was involved in the show earlier on, and him and Phil, they used to go at it. It was heated, man. Brian says he's willing. He's willing to talk it out and debate it out. But Phil is saying, but that's not. I know, but Phil's saying I'm telling him right here. He's not. I don't even know if he's watching. That's the thing. It's got to be set up to where both are involved. So again, no biggie. I'll let him know, man. What else, guys? Let's get ready to head into the trivia of the day. This, of course, is Dolphins Week. It's no longer Victory Monday. It's kind of Victory Tuesday, but it's Dolphins Week, guys. Heading into this Week 15 matchup against the Dolphins on Monday night at home on the North Shore. The Steelers are 3.5-point favorites. The first place Steelers, are heading into this game 3.5-point favorites, taking on the Miami Dolphins. Minkah Fitzpatrick coming back to town, and then also a few of our Dolphins getting that revenge game against their former team. That comes Monday night, guys. So let's get ready to do some trivia today. So Miami Dolphins, how well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Segment of the show. First off, I do want to say, if you haven't had a chance, do swing over to check out our website at www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.2dumyinzers.com. A lot of cool things over there. Mike puts up his dumb thoughts. Also, there is links for contact information. Every episode ever made, I do believe, there's also access to that. And even this snazzy logo to my left here that you see, I guess to the right, you're right on the screen. All kind of cool merch on the site that you can get with that cool logo on. And go check out the website, www.the2dumyinzers.com. All right, guys, time to get in it. Let's get this. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your enemy? Your opponent. This is the question of the day. Put on your thinking caps. Here we go. In 2007, the Steelers played a memorable game against the Miami Dolphins in the rain. We could all remember that ball in that November game in 2007 that got punted, went up, came down, and stuck right in the mud. I think we all remember this game. But, guys, do we remember the score of that game? That's the question of the day. That memorable rainy game when the ball got stuck in the mud off of a punt. What was the final count of that game? It was quite a unique score. That's the question of the day. What was the final count on that 07 Miami Dolphins game in November where the rain was so much that the ball literally got punted into the air, came down, and didn't even bounce? It right in the mud. Guys, I'm looking for the final score on that game. That is the question of the day. Throw your answers up there if you got them. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30, 2:30 p.m., give or take. Just depends on the day. Every day right here on the tube. Cody says, I do remember, but does anybody remember the score? It was a unique score. The score was unique from this particular game. 2007, November, Steelers Dolphins, raining. Richard says 6-3 was the final. The ball wouldn't even bounce. It was such a mess out there. The ball sticks in the ground. What was this unique score to that Steelers Dolphins game? Throw your guesses up if you have them. If you know, just throw it on up there, everybody. I'll give you that answer in just a second after we'll give a few more seconds here. Let me catch up here. I mean, these listen. Those are all entertaining things that these guys could say in a debate. I think that's what would make it fun, dude. Phil says debate with a fool who lettered in ping pong. Idiot doesn't even know how it is to break a collarbone. I broke arms and collarbones. That's what I'm saying, man. It could be a lot of fun. These guys could talk shit on one another, but again, no pressure. Tortilla says it's not that it's just an average year. It's that his highest paid no quarterback in history average on the roll. That's what I'm saying. It's debatable. There's a lot of debate with this conversation. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Phil's saying the proof is in the pudding, which I think partially is correct. But also what Brian says, I don't think that he's wrong either. There's a lot that could be said both ways. And that's the reason I would like to have them both on. But again, totally up to you guys. Cody's saying 7-0, maybe 3-0. Cody says the Dolphins didn't even score in that game. Tortilla, I mean, that's right. And it's 100% debatable. Tyrone, to you, but in reality, we're record again. W without him. So, guys, here it is. Question of the day. We're talking about that 2007, the memorable matchup between the Steelers and the Dolphins. It was in the rain. The ball got stuck in the mud. What was the final count on that game, guys? It was Cody had it right, kind of. He got it halfway right. At one point in one of his posts, it was 3-0. 3-0. Pittsburgh Steelers win that football game against the Dolphins in the rain. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of historical games in the elements with the Steelers and the Dolphins. Go back and take a look around in the past. Back in the 80s, they had a pretty big one with Merrill Hodge involved and Tim Worley and grass being in face masks and rain, and it was just insane. Steelers and Dolphins, they have a plethora, to be honest, of games in the past with the Dolphins in the elements, guys. 3-0. 3-0 was the score of that game. Tyrone said 7-6 winning record. LOL. Phil says listen to an idiot who didn't play this. That's the fun of it. Yeah, man. I think that would be the fun of it. Lindsay said 7-6. First in the division, Tyrone. The fuck, Dan Marino. No, wait. Ray Finkel. Yinzer Nation. Herder. I broke a bone in high school football, so I know all about the NFL. Tortilla, man, you were totally taking Tortilla. Man, you were literally talking the most shit on how bad this team was, and now it's good. Cody, that game sucked. We all talked shit about the field then too. Historically bad defense. They have been playing bad. So, guys, that be pretty much where we are at the end of the day. Pittsburgh Steelers, big Week 15 matchup. Miami Dolphins on the North Shore. Monday night going for their 23rd straight home Monday night win. And, no matter what you say about the coaching situation, Mike Tomlin was a coach for a lot of those wins. So whether you like him, whether you don't, whether you feel that he's been successful in certain situations and not others, you can't deny he's been a part of the 23-game winning streak on Monday night at home. So do what you want with that. 17-10, the Steelers is what Bingo's saying. They've been playing bad. Tyrone, they can play good last few weeks. Defense been fine. For real, Lindsay, that's not fully on TJ. Tyrone offense lost for Bills, Packers, Chargers. Tortilla also says we're paying a $40 million to an average historically. That's what I'm saying. It's totally debatable. There's a good argument. But the thing about what you're saying about Phil, with all due respect, the other party is just as stubborn in a sense. You know what I mean? Which was kind of a surprise to me because he's just as strong in his feels about the way that Phil is about how good TJ is. So again, that's why I think it could be a lot of fun. It would they would leave no stone unturned. So if you're down, Phil, the offer stays open, but I'm kind of getting you're not interested. So I'll leave it open. I'll leave it an open offer for you if you'd like. If not, that's fine too. I'm not going to hold it against you. But again, you are challenged. You were challenged. Bingo says 5-2. That was pretty unique. That would have been a unique score. Matter of fact, when the Steelers beat the Chargers, what was it back in, I forget, 05, 06, 07, they won by a score 11-10, which was never had in the playoffs prior, or in any game. There was never an 11-10 finish prior to that game ever. So just kind of another interesting side note about scores and never happening before. It's we're behind 90. TJ Watt quits on plays. Yinzer Nation is saying Tyrone better step harder coming this way. Lindsay says, laugh my ass off, Cody. It's going to go on forever. Yinzer Nation says, coward. Cody Silva, I just like to chime in and say something about Watt to keep it going. Like I said, everybody wants smoke with TJ. Debate talking trash with the Steelers. Lindsay, yeah, please don't. And thanks. So again, it's totally up to you. And again, if you don't, I'll drop it. I'll drop it entirely. I won't antagonize you. I won't egg you on. If you want to change your mind, it is open for you. Cody says, Ryan, but you know what? The only thing is different. This is the only thing that's different. These two personalities would make for a good show. Phil is so over the top positive about Watt, where he won't even listen. You can see what I was kind of commenting. There's not even a debate. Brian is the same exact way the other direction. And I think between these two, that's kind of what we were shooting for if this would have worked out. The debate itself, it's beat. You're right. I agree 100%. But between these two, Brian and Phil, who still to this point are that adamant about their opinions about TJ Watt, I think it would make for a good show. And that, again, if you don't want to, I'm fine with it. I'm fine. Ryan, welcome back, dude. All I got to say is 1-11. What that's the record without TJ. And again, it's a debate. There's a lot to be said. You're not wrong. There's a lot of things, again, I would have really liked to get these two personalities together. It would have been pretty good. Phil says, you all know about Easy and Dr. Dre, right? The real G versus the studio gangster. He says, I'm Easy E. He says, I'm Easy motherfucking E. Yinzer Nation says, haven't won a playoff game with Watt, have we? Maybe one. Not a big game player. Cody says Tyrone and Lindsay go for TJ hard. Stats don't lie. Lindsay says, Tortilla, I want to keep TJ, but if we're battling between ass without him and average worth, we might as well trade him, get picks, suck, and take a quarterback. Tyrone says he's the GOAT. Ryan says, call him Ryan Mack so we don't get confused on the chat. Cody's saying trade TJ for 2 first-round draft picks. Yinzer Nation says, you ain't no easy high school warrior living in the past, talking to Phil, I believe that was addressed to. Tyrone says, right, how about we give TJ a quarterback for once? I got you, Ryan Mack. Cody says that, or a fucking offense. Tyrone says this. As we are getting ready to wrap up the show, guys, again, I apologize and I thank you greatly with a lot of response, a lot of message, a lot of feedback on the terrible board today. And again, it was fantastic, great show. And I couldn't thank you guys enough. It was so much that I couldn't keep up. And that's a good thing. I try to. And if I can, I can. If I can, I certainly read them all, as I said. So, guys, a great show today. I do want to say these few things before we do get ready to start to wrap stuff up. Do check out our social media anywhere. You can go over to Facebook, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Go over and hit the follow button. Keep up with the 2 Dum Yinzers are up to on a day-to-day basis. And if you haven't had a chance yet, hit the like button down below. Hit the sub, share, or even comment, if you will. All those things help out in the algorithm, and we appreciate them greatly. Finally, I do want to say, heading into this Monday night game, do be sure to make sure you stop and get yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner. I know the guys over Duquesne Pilsner certainly take care of us, and we ask that maybe you could do the same for them. As simple as something as stopping over by a Duquesne Pilsner social media page, just hitting the like or a follow button on anything. But if you really want to do it, go get yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner for the big game this Monday. We have it right here in the studio for every single game. Good beer made right here in Pittsburgh. Right here in Pittsburgh, Duquesne Pilsner. It says right on the can, grab a Duke. Focusing on all the wrong details, Tyrone. Great shot. We appreciate that, Miss Pittsburgh. Always great seeing Miss Pittsburgh on the board as well, guys. I do want to say thank you so much to everybody. I do want to say we couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much, guys. You guys, we appreciate you coming and hanging out and checking us out. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things exciting here on the show. No two ways about it. And everybody at home, whether you're in the gym, at work, in a car, wherever you may be, thank you too. Cody says, thanks for doing the show. Good to talk with you guys, except Grady, you butt fuck. Yeah, he was interesting. I didn't know what to make of that cat. But again, who knows? It might have been Izzy. It might have been little Chester from the other day. Who knows who that was? It was fun. You guys did a number on him, so congrats on that, guys. A few other things before we do wrap it up. The Pittsburgh Penguins with the what are the Penguins doing? They're playing tonight. They lose on Sunday in a shootout to the Stars, 3-0 down in Dallas. They are back at it tonight at 7 o'clock. They're hosting the Anaheim Ducks. That game's at 7. The Pittsburgh Panthers, they will be facing East Carolina in the Military Bowl on December 27th. That was decided with all the bowl stuff that went down over the past week. The playoffs are set for the bowl, the college football playoffs, which I think is interesting. I think James Madison in Tulsa being one of the teams to be in the playoffs is interesting. I don't know if this is the way to fix the system that they have, the broken system that is college football, but they're trying. I got to give them that. Also, the game the Pitt Panthers were scheduled for a back-and-back, a home-and-home against Wisconsin, 26 and 27. The teams decided not to have this game in 26, but they still will play each other in 27. Again, guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, a big win, 27-22 over their rivals, the Baltimore Ravens, taking over first place, taking back most of the tiebreakers, taking back their playoff positions, and putting the Baltimore Ravens back under 500 where they belong. And if we could just tell them never more, that would be just fine with me. So it all starts on Monday night, guys. Big win over the Dolphins. Get to sit back and watch everybody else play all weekend. And then get that Dolphins win, guys. Again, that'll put us at 8-6, gives us a little more cushion. This Ravens and Bengals game should be very interesting, to say the least, this weekend as well. Certainly would have a lot to do with us. So we get to watch that first play out and then get ready for the Dolphins on Monday. Dolphins are getting better. They're improving. They are hitting their stride. They did manage to beat the Jets, but we'll see if that can translate over into our game. Again, big game. No two ways about it. We want to win this game. We want to win this game bad. Is it necessary, 100% necessary to win? No, but very, very important, guys. You're going to win this game, especially how consistent, or the lack thereof consistency we've been playing with, guys. You want to win this game this week, so it is a huge game. Cody says we're going to be breaking helmets on Monday. Tyrone says, I don't know. Okay, I don't know who he's going on with there, so I'm going to move along here. Yinzer Nation say, what? 1 sack in the playoffs, guys. That's a good argument. Again, I would love to see the argument because there's a lot of good cases both ways for and against Watt. I do think. Is he really good, and is he one of the better? Yes. Is he deserving of the money and sucking up all the money on the team where we can't use it everywhere? I don't know. Or are we getting the production out of him that Myles Garrett is giving to the Browns? I don't know. For the amount of money that he gets paid, should we expect more from TJ Watt? For the amount of money we get paid, should we be expecting more out of TJ Watt? Tyrone saying 1-11 without him. And again, I think the counter to that would be a lot of unproductiveness in some of the big games, certainly over the last season, since the 5-game slide this time last year. So again, I think it would be a lot of fun, but it's all totally up to the guys. I'm not going to go any further than that. Phil says at Yinzer, living in the past, okay, but when they bump into me at the mall or anywhere in town, they tell their loved ones he's the one who knocked my teeth out. He's the one that broke. I'm not sure. Maybe he had something going on with this argument. I don't know. Tortillas is bro acting like TJ Watt has won a playoff game. He hasn't even won a playoff game. But again, we'll leave that up for debate. We know that it's a debate. We know, again, I just would love to see these two go at it. I will let Phil says, I get my respect. Watt has my respect. Cody says, Somber, send Ryan the Discord link. Yinzer Nation. Okay. These two are going to continue to go at it. So I am going to continue to start wrapping things up for the day. Guys, again, we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time. for Hump Day, we'll get into what it is that the Steelers team has to do to get ready for the Miami Dolphins. I think it's a winnable game, guys. I think if you beat the Baltimore Ravens. But let me ask you this: isn't this Baltimore Ravens pretty much what we thought that they were? This was the same team that I seen play Cincinnati last week. That's why I wasn't afraid of Derrick Henry. That's why I wasn't afraid of Lamar Jackson. They're just not playing good football, a lot like we are at this time. But so Miami next, guys. Big game Monday night. We'll be talking about that the rest of the week. As the first place Pittsburgh Steelers do continue to make that strive and make that move toward the playoffs and hopefully get that one playoff win that's been so elusive for almost a decade. Does that change your opinion with Mike Tomlin, guys? Let's say we run the table. Let's say we win in January. Is that enough to change your mind for Tomlin? It's going to be an interesting thing also if those things do happen. And again, with what was said by Adam Schefter and how it's going to play out with Tomlin in the offseason, talking about 2027 and that. So again, a lot of things for a whole different day, guys. A lot of stuff to talk about. Tortilla says Mike Tomlin was the coach when we won a Super Bowl, bro. Also, Tortilla says, yes, the next coach of success will go to Tomlin. I mean, that's debatable as well. What about all Tony Dungy's players in John Gruden in Tampa Bay? So again, a whole nother show for a whole nother day. I don't know if we could even have this conversation in what we have left in time, guys. But I do appreciate everything that you did bring to the table today. Again, also pay attention. Philip Rivers meeting with the Indianapolis Colts today to talk about going and playing for the Colts now that Danny Dimes is done. Yeah, that's right. 44-year-old Philip Rivers will be going to Indianapolis to meet with the Colts today to talk about playing quarterback for the Colts for the duration, I guess, as it goes. As I do believe they are just did or about to fall out of a wild card spot. Yeah, that was the best team about 5 weeks ago in the AFC. So crazy year. I think we could all agree on that. But as we are winding down, guys, I do want to say thank you so much. I hope to see everybody back tomorrow. The board was crazy today. It was insane. We apologize for the issues we had there in the middle as far as the technology. I don't know what's going on with that. But I do want to say thank you so much. You guys were awesome. We'll be back tomorrow. Do it all over again. Getting ready for this Miami Dolphins team in December up north. I like our chances, guys. So for the two Dum Yinzers, we hope to see you back tomorrow. For Mike doing the executive producing work in the behind the scenes, myself, everybody, the terrible board. I hope everyone has a great Tuesday. For the two Dum Yinzers, have a good one. Have a safe one. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.